A bipartisan group of mayors and business leaders are teaming up to tackle housing issues nationwide. Mayors and CEOs for U.S. Housing Investment is a public-private partnership that aims to find solutions for a lack of affordable housing in many U.S. cities and towns. This year, they're meeting as the Trump administration looks to slash rental assistance programs and homelessness hits a record high nationwide. Joining me now to discuss the effort are two mayors leading the effort. That's Long Beach, California Mayor Rex Richardson, a Democrat, and Clearfield, Utah Mayor Mark Shepard, a Republican. Gentlemen, welcome to you both.
Thank you.
Thanks for being here. Mayor Shepard, so this is a first of its kind bipartisan effort to come up with housing solutions. What can you accomplish through this model that you couldn't do previously?
I think really when you're bringing mayors and CEOs together, you're bringing the business community as well as municipal leaders together to give a message that it can be done. None of this gets solved easily. This is not an easy problem to tackle, but it's a crucial problem to tackle. And as you look across the country, you see the desperate need for housing that we have, both on the small scale in our smaller cities and again in our bigger cities. It's everywhere. And we're short about 4 million homes. This allows us to take a message in and solutions and really be able to say, how do we come together to make things happen?
So Mayor Richardson, you're here because you're meeting with federal lawmakers.
Absolutely.
Is this the kind of issue that's best handled through Washington or at the level you work at or at the state level?
Well, we're implementers on the ground. We build housing in communities and cities, but we can't do it alone. We're talking 3.7 million units of housing need to be built in the United States of America. It's going to require bipartisan leadership on a national level. And I think what's different about this approach is that you're bringing mayors together from both sides of the aisle, large cities, small cities, and business leaders. Because if you want to support jobs, you can build housing. If you want to support families, build housing. It's a bipartisan agenda that we should make a top priority for our country because it supports families.
And of course, what the federal government does impacts both of you on the ground and your constituencies. Mayor Shepard, we saw from the White House in the Trump budget outline that, among other things, it would cut HUD rental assistance programs by some $26 billion. That's a 43% cut. How would that impact folks in Clearfield?
It would be catastrophic. To put it very nicely, we need that assistance throughout Utah. In my small community, we're 36,000 people. We rely on it. We're a working class community. We're a blue collar community, manufacturing mostly, and we're an Air Force community. And so without that assistance, the gap just doesn't get made. We need that assistance to make things happen.
What about you, Mayor Richardson?
Our city's about 500,000 residents. We're a big port town. We're concerned about housing production to make sure that families of all ages can live with dignity, but also concerned about national conversations on tariffs that affect not only our local economy, but the cost to build. When we have additional tariffs, it can increase the cost of housing production, which is already expensive. We believe that we should be moving in the other direction, making housing less affordable to build and more simple to finance. So investing in working together to expand LIHTC, support more CDBG, reform CDBG, home dollars, those are the things we need the federal government to do. While we on the local level, we look at our own local sources of revenue. We improve and streamline processes to build housing faster and bring people inside.
I assume you meant more affordable to build. You said
Absolutely.
less, but you meant more. And California is interesting, I have to ask you, because your governor has really been doing a lot. He was slashing restrictions and environmental reviews to try to boost some of that housing building. He also paired billions in state funds to get homeless people into housing and treatment with a real call for cities to shut down the homeless encampments. There's some division among California Democrats on this. Is this the right approach in your view?
We're a public health jurisdiction in Long Beach, one of only 3 cities in the entire state with a public health department. So we do both. We lead with compassion, but we also acknowledge that we have to build housing and we have to have accountability. That's what our residents want to see. And so we believe in housing first. We've built more shelter and interim housing than we've ever seen in the last 5 years, and we're breaking housing records every single year. But in order to meet the need in Southern California, which is one of the most impacted markets in America, we have to do more. We have to do it at scale. We have to streamline environmental reviews. That's happening in the state level. There's more that we can do across the country to make sure that we're all hands on deck to address this challenge.
Mayor Shepherd, the hurdles are obviously exist in funding at the federal level, but also locally. Sometimes we see people who live in these communities don't necessarily want to see affordable housing built in those communities. Do you see that, and how do you combat it?
Sure, I think we see that everywhere. We refer to them as NIMBYs, not in my backyard. I've got the bananas as well, to build absolutely nothing or anything anywhere. They exist, but they don't understand. There are ways to build housing and have it be dignified. And that is crucial to this situation, is to build housing that isn't your standard tract housing, isn't your standard affordable, we'll call it deeply affordable, that we all view as, oh, that's the low income stuff. We just finished a development in Clearfield that's about 400 units of both apartments and townhomes. And I toured people through there, through the various new developments within the city, and said, pick the one that's low income. And not one of them could pick this out. So we went back and toured it, and they said, I cannot believe that this is low-income housing. It was affordable, it's the right place, and it's done right. And it allows people to live with that dignity that they need to without saying, oh yeah, I live in the ghetto or in this deeply affordable housing.
I have to ask both of you, because you're teaming up in a bipartisan way on this key issue. If you could just tell me briefly, from where you sit, where else do you see opportunities for this kind of bipartisan work?
Well, I'll tell you, you start where your interests intersect. Housing, Democrats and Republicans should be able to agree on this. I'll never forget, growing up, we had a 2-bedroom apartment. My mom had a room, my sister and brother shared a room, and I slept on the couch. We made it work. We all worked part-time jobs, and I paid the light bill, my sister paid the phone bill. We made it work. But that same apartment today is 3 to 4 times as much. So for a family to pull it together and make ends meet, it's much more difficult for them now. So we have to make sure that we all focus on this issue so we don't create a catastrophe in our nation.
Outside of housing, is there more place for bipartisan work like
Absolutely.
this?
We're sitting right in the middle of a budget discussion right now, and the House has done their piece and the Senate's doing theirs, and we've got to come together. We've got to look at where money's being spent, the programs that are being cut, and do them right. We need to save money. We understand that. We get it as a country. There's things that have to be in order to balance a budget or get us to a point where we're not increasing our debt. But it's how you do that and which things you do. And those are crucial. We're cutting Job Corps right now. In fact, we just got word they're cutting Job Corps. I've got a Job Corps center in Clearfield.
Absolutely.
And it's not a let's ease this through. It's we're shutting the doors. You've got, they were told you got a week. Send the kids home.
We're going to have you both back to talk about these other cuts and the impact on your constituencies. Thank you for being here today, Mayor Rex Richardson and Mark Shepherd. We appreciate your time.
Thank you.